Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Ali stand with you to give you an insight into an important question that is meant for engineering students as well as ETEA. It is analogy topic, and you know the word analogy means relationship, or for that matter link between any two words, or for that matter any exemplified version. When they asked you this question in your paper on entry test, is essentially through a STEM word, like original combination that we call technically STEM words. They give you that, and then you have A, B, C, D, 4 options. And on each option you have another pair of words. You essentially have to decipher as to which out of those 4 has the exactly same relationship as has been produced on STEM words. This analogy section is easy in a way that it actually deals with your IQ, and since you are geniuses together and you are good at it in terms of deciphering logic, you would not really have any trouble. It's fun too. Like initially it may sound a bit tough, but once you get into it, this job would become very easy for you and entertaining too. Vocab obviously is assessed in the process. Certain times you come across such combinations that the words they offer you, you might not be familiar with them. Still, knowing how to attempt this question would essentially resolve your issue. It would sort of put you at ease, like those options that in intro I told you, how to attack a given combination, how to build a bridge in the original pair, and then apply that same bridge on the available options. Some do's and don'ts that we need to talk about. It gives you detail again to be able to systematically go about this particular section, analogy section. There are essentially 2 types of questions. As you can see, I have given you here STEM words: self-portrait, then colon, and painter. Now, even without seeing the options, and I would recommend that you don't see the options to begin with, you simply try to establish the relationship between the original pair and see in what way this word is connected to painter. If you can do that, you obviously have an understanding of the relationship. That is what analogy is about. So with that understanding, when you apply on the available options the technique I told you, always handy that you bridge the 2 words in a fashion that you have a brief sentence. Like if you try to decipher this self-portrait, easy words I have deliberately put here so that you don't have vocab related trouble, but I tell you it could be the case at times that the original expression itself has advanced vocab. So once we are doing higher frequency words, we would definitely be getting this difficulty overcome as well. But right now, if I say self-portrait is the portrait a painter makes of himself. A bit lengthy, but at least I have understood the 2 words. Now I have to see these options. My first word here is soliloquy. This is a literary term where an actor speaks to himself. Let's learn vocab in the process. Soliloquy is the kind of talk which is not meant for audience. No, essentially it is meant for audience. And it is not spoken to another character on the stage. And audience gets to know the inner view of that character. So soliloquy and actor are in no way on the pattern of original pair connected to each other. Let's go for the second option, interpretation, reader. In order to decipher some text, a reader interprets it. He infers some meanings. Let's understand this word inference. Inference is the understanding that you gain for yourself. And when you imply something, that means you sort of decode, not code, decode, it's like coding some message for someone else. So implication of something is for others, applying or implying something, and whereas when we interpret, we do it for ourselves. Reader interprets text to have clarity. This again, painter, self-portrait, not that type of relationship at all. See this autobiography, writer, easy words. You know this prefix auto means self. So bio means life. You are familiar, ETEA students especially are well familiar with that. Graph is writing. So autobiography is writing about oneself. Writer who involves in writing about himself is coming up with an autobiography. But before we pick our choice, we see the two words here, manuscript, editor. So this is the kind of document that editor scans or studies to improve maybe. Now, what was our sentence? Painter, when he paints himself, that is self-portrait. Actor, when he, you may say, talks to himself, but that is soliloquy. But is it some kind of production of this kind? Like unit is produced, churned out, a separate entity comes into existence. So this seems likely, but is not the right option, because soliloquy is just talk. It is not hard and fast some object of a kind that is self-portrait. Reader interprets him for himself. Painter doesn't portray for himself. What he paints is, if it is about him, it is self-portrait. So painter's painting about himself is self-portrait. Reader's writing or interpreting for himself is interpretation. Interpretation even could be for someone else too. So not likely. It is an advanced combination actually, which troubles you on different options. But you simply have to see an object that is created by someone about himself. So this is not clarifying or presenting any picture of this individual. Whereas this third option, autobiography, writer when he writes about his personal life, that book or that document pertains to autobiography because it highlights the writer. As self-portrait is the picture of painter himself, so autobiography is the writing of the writer himself. So you can easily take this choice as the right choice because this too can be rejected. Manuscript doesn't reflect editor. This is basically what you do in terms of these STEM words. However, there may be a likelihood that the combination you make on original pair by bridging sentence, that could be applicable to more than one options. I told you in the intro that then you have to revisit the options and be more specific on the original sentence so that when you get back to this, you have only one likely option. There are some do's and don'ts, like if you start from here, a painter who paints himself, then you should start from here. A writer who writes about himself, like you are proceeding right to left. Whereas if you say self-portrait is the portrait of the painter himself, then autobiography is the writing of the writer himself. So the sentence has to be applied in the same sequence that the original words that you bridge through that brief expression were connected, like sequence wise. If it is right to left, it has to be the same on the available options. If instead it is left to right, obviously apply the same. At times there could be very easy statements, still confusing. Let's say it could be he, her, as your original combination. So it's essentially again assessing you on your understanding of parts of speech. Now if there is this you and let's say yours as A option, That cannot be likely. Why? Because he is subject case pronoun, her is object case as well as possessive adjective. So you have to see this one being different. This is possessive pronoun. So this cannot be our case. Let's say if on B he says they, them. That could be our choice. Or even if he says they, their, obviously then he would not have given you this option. Then this would be the only option available to you in terms of the right option. Why this option correct? Because her book, their book. So this is possessive adjective, possessive adjective. This is subject case before verb. You can always use this as it is actually subject case pronoun, third person pronoun. So your paper setter assesses you on your understanding of parts of speech, understanding of high frequency vocab, understanding of plain logic, understanding of your common sense. Especially let me tell you, like 3 to 4, everybody on ETEA would get analogy questions. They could be in different format, but essentially analogy skills are required there. Then if we talk in terms of NUST, apart from those 3 to 4 in the actual English section, even the questions that are asked on IQ segment, they too pertain to the same analogy questions. And we would definitely be seeing as to what types of questions. And then again, Sir Nadeem would be explaining as to how to handle them. But if you have developed skills in this domain, you would have no issue in managing those questions too. Now this same question may be asked in a different fashion too. What is that? Like I have written here a sentence, colleagues are to a profession as kinsfolk are to, and then you have dash. Now obviously this dash is to be filled in from the available options. You have family, team, country, game. Your original sentence, that what we were doing on this pair, we were trying to bridge the two sentences together with the help of an expression. That expression is already there. Colleagues are to a profession. So your job is made easier. As kinsfolk, now you have to see how kinsfolk is related to any of these 4 words in the same manner as profession is related to colleagues. So if you sort of think over it, colleagues are to a profession. Like any individual who is in the same profession, that would be colleague to one another. Kinsfolk are to, now see, which option would you go? One is family, yes, kinsfolk. Team, in a way they develop that bonding, become kinsfolk. Country, compatriots, like they are from the same region and they have affection for one another, likely. Game, a bit far-fetched. So let's strike out this. This is again a technique that strike out that what is unlikely. There's a wonderful way that is adopted by usually children when they are proposed in terms of some family relationship for finding the match. They at times say, no, not that individual with that little height, and no way I would go for that. Then another option B is given, he has no education, why are you sort of hurling me into that relationship then? Sort of rejected by virtue of finding some faults. Then C option, he is already bald, the man has no grace in him. And then the fourth option, in such matters girls are not supposed to say anything, whatever parents wish we are obliged to follow. So that means by rejecting the 3, you have automatically pointed out the right option. Excuse my this example, but the point is, let's try to reject some other to get to the right option. Colleagues are to a profession. See, these different individuals together are in a profession. That's why they are colleagues. Whichever way you want to develop the sequence. Team, you have different individuals, but do they have the other name of kinsfolk? Our kinsfolk have individuals in them. Do the collection of that have this title, team? Obviously not. Whereas any profession, members therein are called colleagues. Any team, members therein are not called kinsfolk. It's basically your this choice. We rejected two. Country was far-fetched to my mind. You can also see that. So the only relevant option where different members are termed kinsfolk as well as different members in a profession are termed colleagues. We have gone for this option. We would practice actually at length in available variety. We are lucky in a way that the combinations, existing combinations are only of 32 types. I've given you some examples, types of relationship. Just view them. Like you could have on the original pair cause-effect relationship. Something causes some result. I have given you an example here. Poverty causes illiteracy. So this very sentence, if you have maybe another option of this kind, you use the same fashion from left to right. Overeating causes disease. So this combination was based on this relationship, cause and effect. If you beforehand understand that any given combination you have to see in terms of cause and effect, you would immediately decipher the nature of that relationship, and that would be very instrumental in getting to the right option. Again, another combination here of typical type, part and whole. This is like one unit and what collectively that is called. See here, mouse. It's not the thing that plural form it is called mice. It's related to computer. So mouse is a part of computer. So part to whole relationship. Chapters are part to a book. This is the whole relationship. This is part relationship. So part and whole relationship can be easily deciphered if already you know that this is one type of combination that you may come across. Then another, object and usage. What you do here is that you get a combination of kind where one thing and what it is meant for. Wood, like you may even use the same combination. Wood is an object used for furniture. Pen is an object used for writing. So trying the original pair with the help of these available combinations would ease your job. And that what I would like to tell you is that essentially there are only 32 types. Anywhere you get to, be it SAT, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL, everywhere they have given you variety of combinations on analogy to be cracked. But they are linked together on 32 probable types. So once we study them all, our mind has a checklist, and any new combination comes to us, it immediately falls into some kind, and knowing that kind, easily you can get to the right option then. So let's see the laws here, second laws, that is part and part, like two parts of the same body. Let's say hands and legs. So you see these are two parts. You understand the relationship, part to part relationship. Pages, covers. Cover in itself is a page, pages. So these are different parts of maybe a book. Book is the whole, but this is part to part relationship. Then you have tool and worker relationship, where saw, it's not see, saw, seen, it's saw. I saw a saw which could not saw. So saw is, जिसको हम उर्दू में औरा कहते हैं, that what cuts wood. It's a tool used by a carpenter. So tool and worker, the thing and who uses it, like board marker, teacher. This combination is tool and worker related. And you have so many combinations on the pattern. Once you understand, then again gender related. We would definitely give you that in our discussions after this lecture, the variety that you need to once see how they may give you different combinations. And having practiced on the basics, you would take this to be a very easy job, inshallah. So my point is, altimeter. Here you have a vocab related trouble too. There are different types of meters like speedometer, odometer. In the combinations you would see those two. But see, pilot uses altimeter. Altimeter is what tells height. So a pilot and what he uses, his reference is there. Tool and the worker behind that. Just 5 given here, remaining we would obviously discuss in our Zoom interaction. Now after this, I would give you say some 15 to 20 STEM words with available options. You would be seeing them and together we would be attempting them. So my dear students, here are some combinations for you to be attempted. Easy vocab actually. The essential point is to be able to understand how to proceed on analogy combinations. See this combination, crumb, bread. The very words are easy to understand, bread and crumb is a piece obviously. So you understand it as part to whole or maybe a piece of some larger chunk. What type of combination from available options has the same relationship is your job to find now. Ounce, unit, splinter, wood, water, bucket, twine, rope. You know what? A good student is able to even understand the relationship on all the available options. So he would not have any difficulty in understanding this to be a measuring unit, this to be a piece of some hole, this and container for something. Twine is the rope itself, thread. So your combination, crumb is a piece of bread. See here, splinter is a piece of wood. So if you choose this one, you have earned credit for yourself. Seeing the second combination, brittle, fracture. It is very important that you put the two together through a brief sentence. For example, brittle is easily fractured. When you change the form here, like this, the word was fracture, whereas what we said was fractured. Now you have to add that participle form with all verbs here. And then again you have to see the parts of speech as well. Like seesaw, seen, melt, melted, melted, stop, stopped, stopped, burnt, burnt, burnt. All are verbs, so no problem. That means our confusion is not enhanced by the examiner. He could at times give you a noun here and that could seem very likely. Fracture itself was a naming word. So here you have all verbs. That is the problem. So your sentence should sort out these niceties. When I say brittle is easily fractured, transparent is easily seen, in a way, yes. Fluid is easily melted. No, fluid is already in a melted form. Perpetual is easily stopped. Perpetual is a different word altogether. It means everlasting, unending. So it has nothing to do with stop. Stop is like not connected in this fashion. Nature is not being described. Flammable is easily burnt. This seems likely. Flammable is easily burned. See, this was also likely with us. Transparent can be easily seen through, not just seen, because any object can be seen. When we say transparent, you have to add another expression to that. Seen through is not the case. Flammable is easily burnt through? No. Our original sentence, brittle is easily fractured through? No. So whatever the sentence in its entirety, that is to be applied on the available options. Once you do that, you would have no risk of landing onto a wrong combination. So brittle is easily fractured, or brittle can fracture. Let's say flammable can burn. Our correct option thereby is delta. Moving to the next. See the relationship, very easy to decipher. Gymnasium is the place where you exercise. We proceeded from left to right. So gymnasium is the place where you exercise. Now you have to find a place where you do something. It is very easy. Once you establish the relationship on the keywords, then from available options you simply have to find that link. The options are birthdays celebrate, building construct, store shop, disease diagnose. Some of the options are apparently unlikely. Like when we say we exercise in gymnasium, we diagnose in disease, no. We shop in store, yes. We construct in building. Building is constructed, but within building you may construct something, maybe a little likely. We celebrate in birthday, the preposition doesn't fit in here. So the two apparently logical options were store, shop and building, construct. Now if instead we say gymnasium is the place where we exercise. Now if we apply this sentence, the second sentence that is more precise, that is only to be seen with reference to the two likely options. The other options are not to be tried because already you have excluded them. Now if we say a gymnasium is the place where you exercise, building is the place where you construct, no. Whereas store is the place where you shop, exactly. Your Charlie option thereby is the correct option. Moving to the fourth combination, you have a pair here that states compass, navigation. So it is a tool and what it is used for. We have already seen this combination in terms of probable relationships, and rest we would view in general. And then again, once you become good at it, you'd be able to link these available options in terms of the types of relationships. And when you attempt different papers, you would have an exhaustive study of the all likely options on such tests. My point is, compass is a tool that is used for navigation. Physician is a tool that is used for disease, not at all. In modern times, maybe COVID-19, they spread disease, so in a way they have become tool to spread this disease, but obviously in general context it's not true. Pilot is a tool that is used for flight. He's not a tool, he's a man or a woman maybe. But see the relationship thereby, though seems likely for general view or cursory look, but essentially should not be our option because we are talking here in terms of a tool that serves for some purpose. This is not a tool, this is a person. He could be doing something, making something, or object could be created. Purpose, like if there had been an option, let's say driver, car. So driver drives the car, pilot flies the plane, then you required here plane. Driver, driving would have been the exact option needed for this being the stem words. Since we have crossed this out, now see, clock is the tool that is used for dialing. No. Camera is a tool that is used for photography. Yes, very easy to understand. It is a tool that is employed to perform photography. So our correct option is delta. Moving to some other combinations to be able to understand these things at length, we have some written versions here. Let's view them. So my dear students, let's hone our skills further by practicing on some basic combinations. See this one here, dappled spots. Some of you may not be familiar with this word dappled, but in the available options there is no difficult word apparently. Bleach reduces colors, Striped means that what has lines. Rhymed, words could be rhymed. Delicious could be by virtue of spices, but even when there are no spices, some sweet dish could also be delicious. Now, we see how dappled, without knowing the meanings of this word, we can get to know the likely option. See, spots you understand. Spice has nothing to do with spots. Colors of different kind could generate spots, but let's say a little likely. Lines, yes, definitely likely. Words have no link with spots. This is very advanced level of doing things in a situation when you are desperate, when actually you don't have other options. Like if God forbid the first word you are absolutely unaware of, then you have to stick to such technique. At least link the word on the second option with the available options. You see which word has any closer relationship with that word. And since the other words on this side are easier, try to see them too. We saw this lines likely, colors likely. Bleach reduces colors. Striped has lines on it. Now try these two sentences on the original pair. Spots reduces, see what was happening? Bleach reduces color, so dappled reduces spots. ED form does something. Bleach and ED form are different in terms of this noun, most probably. Dappled could be an adjective. So parts of speech being different, this other little likely option is crossed out. Now this has the same form, striped, dappled. This is in a case where you don't understand the first word. Let's get the understanding of this word now. Dappled is a fabric that has spots on it. So anything that has spots on it is dappled. Dappled dogs are there. But any fabric that contains spots is dappled. So any, let's say, fabric that contains lines on it is striped. Let's make an easier sentence. Let's say dappled has spots, striped has lines. So our this option, even when we had vocabulary related trouble, could have been taken by a little working on the different words in that combination. Now moving on, quibble, again a difficult word, again an easy word here. Again we need to apply some strategy, and the strategy is, we see this word here, criticism, duty, information, quarrel, disagree. What we do is we try to decipher the tone of this word. Criticism is on negative things, so it's the very word is negative in nature, though there could be literary criticism as well, which is not necessarily pointing out the flaws, it even appreciates the quality of that work. But in general, we have this negative feeling coming out of this word. Now duty has a very positive feeling, information is very positive, quarrel has negative, disagreement or it's disgrace, this has negative too. So based on this tone of the second word, we are left with these two options. This is in worst case scenario, when you have no understanding of one of the two words. Then you should not just abandon trying it. Apply these tricks and it may work wonders for you. My point is, now with these two options for this criticism, you have to view this side now. Again, this word is a bit advanced, TIF. You may not already know what does this mean, but scandal is very easy to understand. Scandal disgraces people. So it is a thing and its effect. Quibble, criticism. Criticism is a noun again. This disgrace is noun. Quarrel is noun. Parts of speech wise it's okay. This we are supposing we don't know. Scandal is negative. Negative. This tiff, we don't know apparently the meanings of this word. So we have a problem here. Like we don't know exactly which choice to go for from out of these two. Now what do we do now? We try some mechanism further. Criticism, obviously this word is related to that. Quarrel, this word may be related to that. Disgrace, scandal, the effect of that is disgrace. The very word disgrace is not related directly with the scandal. Hopefully you understand that working which I am trying to get you to, that is that this word criticism only is done when something goes wrong. Disgrace is only done when something goes scandalous? No. So that means this quarrel is only done even when you don't know the meanings of tiff. There is this little chance. I'm not saying for sure everyone would reach to this right option, but at least there is a little likelihood. Percentage wise you have increased your chances of being right. Now, since we have to do vocab 2, these basic structures we would be trying to get to know in detail, and then again the available options, that exhaustive study would equip us with the kinds of words that your examiner is fond on using. In vocab 2, with advanced vocab, these words are very common. Quibble is actually a sort of lighter criticism. Tiff is actually a lighter quarrel, like not intense. So intensity based relationship was there. Quibble is less intense than criticism. Tiff is less intense than quarrel. So lighter quarrel, lighter criticism. This was our correct option. Next one is very easy because both the words you are familiar with already. Ethics, morality. Now in the available options, probably with the exception of this one word, the rest everybody knows every word here. Logic, error, taboo, custom, proof, generalization. So we stick to the traditional method. Ethics, morality. How do you join the two together? Any sentence if you want to try. Let's see. Jurisprudence, law. Understanding jurisprudence is talking about law. Law gives us jurisprudence. Logic may contain an error or may not. Taboo is customs related. Certain things are tabooed in certain societies, sort of banned. Proof is in a way to generalize things. So relationship of morality with ethics both seem positive. Both are interconnected. Ethics show morality, morality shows ethics. Now the same sentence we try. Jurisprudence shows law, law shows jurisprudence, likely. Logic shows error, error shows logic, not likely. Taboo shows custom, custom shows taboo, likely. Proof shows generalization, generalization shows proof, not likely. So we have reduced options to select from. One is C, the other is A. Ethics is a code of conduct in terms of moral actions. Morality related code of conduct is called ethics. Law related code of conduct is called jurisprudence. Our custom related code of conduct is called taboo. This is not a code of conduct. So we strike this out, we take this as the likely option. This is how you proceed on these combinations. See this one, again a difficult word for you, glower. Let's understand what glower means. It's a kind of feeling. It's an emotion or an expression of anger. So glore, like if I say, this is glore, it's an expression of anger. Whereas sneer is an expression of contempt. Grin is like expression of contempt again, not expression itself. Fidgeting is a condition whereby you show uneasy movements. So the words are related to each other but not on the pattern of original pair. Console, when somebody is grieved, you console. So this is not the type of relationship we are looking for. So the very sentence, glore is an expression of anger. When we try on the available options, only alpha pops up as the correct option, because sneer is an expression of contempt. Contempt means hatred, dislike. Sneer is ridiculing somebody, showing dislike or disgust. So that was our correct option. Come to this side. You have again plain words. Melodious, heard. Melodious means musical, heard means what you have come to hear. The words are strange here. Actual, witnessed. Legible, read or read. Pictorial, illustrated. Savory, you've heard of savor food. So savory is taste related, and eaten. Now, in a random fashion, if you start picking up options by that gut feeling, I tell you, you would end up wrong. Unless you apply the same strategy. Unless you link the original pair through a concise sentence, there is no likelihood of getting to the right option. Occasionally, yes, you may, but not always. So what you need to do is to understand how melodious is related to heard. Something melodious is heard. If we say this is the sentence, we try. Something actual is witnessed, yes. Something legible is read, yes. Something pictorial is illustrated, of course, yes. Something savory is eaten, yes. So every option seems likely. What does this convey to us? Simply that we have failed to link the original pair precisely. We have not established relationship there. That specific relationship which is available only on one option. So what do? We revisit the original pair. We try to think of something else. Melodious is maybe heard with delight. You feel thrilled and entertained. So any of these words, if you have in your sentence, now you try this expression. Melodious is heard with delight. Actual is heard with witness. No. So we have this choice of excluding unlikely now. Legible is, let's say, read with delight. We use the same words the way we use melodious and heard on original pair. Melodious is heard with delight. Actual is witnessed with delight. So we stock out. Legible is read with delight. Legible, it has to be every time. It is not read with delight. Obviously, it can only be read if it is legible. That means readable. Pictorial is read with illustrated. Now, this is rather a different thing altogether. Straight away, you can cross out this. And the beta option 2. Pictorial is actually picture form of illustrating some work of art. So when you say pictorial is, what was the sentence here? Melodious is heard with delight. Pictorial is illustrated with delight. No, you never know. It may have been illustrated with delight or may not have been illustrated with delight. Savory is eaten with delight. That's the thing. Like every time anything delicious, savory, something that pleases your taste buds, that is eaten with delight. You are happy, overjoyed. So that's exactly the requirement for us to pick from out of the options. See how easy it becomes when once you understand the strategy to go about all available options and to see the original pair, to link them together, to see that the link did not work and revisit. Entertaining too. Again, easy words here. In our this first exercise, we have made sure that we see expressions that help us understand this concept better. Then gradually we would get to the advanced level. Like a student was telling me that on business studies in NUS, he was asked analogy pairs that he was not familiar with even a single word there. So it does happen at times on NUS, you come across very unusual words which are not even found in that vocabularies. But rest assured, since we have to go about everything wherever it is presented in whatever form, we would leave no stone unturned in making sure that we know it beforehand. Even the combination itself, the relationship, the words, inshallah we would be familiar with before we get into the actual test. So see, equalize part, parity rather. What is it? Equalize is to maintain parity. We have different options here. This word you may not be knowing, or you may be, like chemistry, yes, you must be knowing. Coalesce, it's like binding together. Unity, seems like unity is gained through coalescing. Vary is like variation wala sense. Vary the frequency, doesn't give any clue here. Forestall, convenience, very unusual words. By the way, these two words apparently have nothing to do with each other. Forestall is to stop, to impede, to hinder, unlike foretell. Foretell is to tell in advance. Convenience is comfort. So these words have nothing to do with each other. See, if this be your original pair, where you come across two words that are not related in any fashion to each other, rest assured that in available options you have to pick another combination that is not related in any way to each other. So there could be this case on the paper where you come across two words and you fail to find any link between the two. All you have to do is to understand that that is the link, that there is no link. And with that in mind, you find another pair that has no link. That would be your correct option. Synchronize permanence. Again, the word synchronizing is putting together, putting in harmony. Permanence is not closely related. Yes, this could have been our option for this pair, but the two here cannot be our option because here the word parity has to do with equalize. When you equalize, you gain parity. When you coalesce, you gain unity. So your correct option was alpha. When you vary, you get or gain frequency? No. When you forestall, you get convenience or gain convenience? No. When you synchronize, you gather or gain permanence? No. So again, mind it. There cannot be in your any paper, any such combination on original pair that gets you more than one options from those four. If that be the case, you can tell yourself that you are wrong here. So only one option has to be correct every time you attempt any question on this. Moving on. There's the word aberration, and then you have standard. See how aberration is related to standard. Aberration is actually a violation. Violation of what? Standard norms. It's a deviation from standard. So when you are not adhering to standard, that is aberration. Once you understand that, options to be seen. Censorship. News. News are censored through censorship. But is censorship a deviation of from news? No. Policy statements are made, but are statements deviation from policy? Some individual talking, maybe there is this deviation, but statement in general doesn't have anything to do with policy, as aberration has every time something to do with violating some standard. So this cannot be our case. A, B rejected thereby. Detour, route. Detour is sort of deviating from the route. It's like getting sidetracked. So detour is the kind of relationship here. Aberration is deviation from standard, Detour is deviation from route. This is very likely, but mind it, another strategy. It should never be the case with you that when once you see the original pair and you link that together and you get a sentence and you try that, maybe on option A, you get convinced that yes, this is exactly on the pattern. Fine, it may be the right answer. But remember, till the time you see the remaining three options, you should never finalize your first choice. Unless you go through everything, because there could be this case that the order you have picked up, that is reversed. Whereas there may be another combination that has the same order which was on the original pair. So that would be essentially your option, not the one that you were satisfied with. So though we see this as likely, but we do see this in terms of the same sentence. Rumor, gossip. Aberration is a deviation from standard. Rumor is a deviation from gossip. No, rumor is actually gossip. So cannot be our choice. We go for Charlie as the correct option without taking any risk. We understand that we are right on this particular account. Our last example for today, it is with reference to a thing and what it does. So it's a tool and the work it produces, like the job it is used for. Needle is used for knitting. Now if we have this sentence, needle is used for knitting. See, the problem with us is finger is used for sewing. This is pronounced as sewing, though we in Pakistan say sewing, but sewing. Anyways, pronunciation is a different domain. This seems to be a sort of thing that is used for something that is mentioned in the second option. Again, sign is used not for painting, but on painting you always have a sign. So let's say this doesn't seem likely. But throat is used for singing. Exactly, without throat, how can you use talk even? So this is again likely. Chisel is again a tool that is used for carving. This is likely too. Now see, if you have more than one option, time and again I am telling you, that means your actual sentence was faulty. We try to further fix the exact nature of that relationship by seeing needle is a tool actually. Now finger is not a tool, it's part of the body. And then sewing, that is a work that is produced through this, let's say, part of body. Sign is not a tool, throat is not a tool, chisel is a tool. So if I say board marker, writing. The board marker is a tool that is used for writing, just as needle is a tool that is used for knitting. So we should have chisel as a tool that is used for carving, like masons would do that. For carving they would employ this tool. This is basically some do's and don'ts pertaining to this analogy section. That's not the end of it. It was trying to discuss this on the fundamental level. Some strategies, like if I sum up, moving from right to left, then applying the same sequence, seeing parts of speech as well. Or then if it is left to right, trying that same sequence on the available options. If getting stuck with the meanings of one word, then the word that you know, with the help of that, deciphering its tone and seeing the words on that side of the combination in terms of their tone. If you can understand them, you are doing fine then. And again, it comes back to the same old adage, the more you practice, the better you become. Best of luck. We would practice a lot, rest assured. And with that sort of detailed practice, I'm sure you on your paper would have the very combinations that we would have discussed here already, inshallah. And even if they be somewhat different, they would not be of the kind that you fail to decipher. So keep working on the links, keep doing the activities on daily basis, and the practice that we do on Zoom interaction, that is equally important. come back, every one of you, after watching the video pertaining to that subject, so that you get added concepts. Best of luck till next time. Allah Hafiz.